appreciate you. Okay. I'm going to turn off comments because we don't have that much time, and I'm just going to try to spit this out. I just want to get some stuff off my chest because I've been drowning in my PTSD. So if there's someone that can screen record this, and I thank you so much for sharing it. But like I said, I'm just going to turn the comments off so there's no more distractions. There's already enough, right? Cool. So let me see how to do that. Why is it not doing it? Hold on. There it is. Okay. Forgot for a second. That was weird. Okay. I've said I'm from the south side of heaven, but I'm still gonna pray. I believe in Jesus. If you don't, this is your time. I'm not pushing religion on you. We all share the same message. Thank you for recording. My name is Allie Carter. I would turn the camera this way, but I'm not gonna do it. My twin is right here. My mom.
Hello.
Actually.
Hi.
Let's just do it. Just kidding. Thank you, Jesus, for this day and this time, God. We just ask that you please keep us safe, Father, and encamp your angels around all of us and everyone on this live, God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I want to just spit out some things, like I said, okay? So here we go. We talked last time about someone saying that I was in the Run This Town music video. Okay. I responded with, at first, I was like, nah. When someone first was like, here, you're at the 438 mark. I was like, no. My mom showed me a picture. She just flashed it at me, and I was like, huh? And then everybody had to double take for a second. I explained to y'all in the last video that my legal medical diagnosis is dissociative identity disorder. I don't know if that's me. I want justice for whoever that is under that bandana with just her eyes, because clearly somebody needs their justice for something that's there. Don't know. All right. There's people who mistake me all the time for 13 years old. I just want to explain something to you guys, because dissociative identity disorder is one thing, but what we're talking about is the trafficking of children. I was a victim. I'm not telling you guys that I saw something and then yes, there's other victims, but I was a victim of what we're talking about, okay? And that's not the only thing that we're talking about. The Diddy shit is not the only thing that deserves your attention, okay? My time that some people are trying to help pull some stuff up for me for is 2007 to 2010. 2010, I was a missing child from the Riverside County Child Protective Services custody. But from 2007 to 2010, that was a very rough time for me. I was born, so it says, in 1994. My birth certificate states 1994. Okay? I'm blessed to say that I'm 30 years old because I wasn't supposed to make it past 16. If you want to dig for something, go look in Snoop Dogg's stuff. I'll tell you that. Arm candy and party favors run a long way. So if you want to dig for some things, I'll tell you right now that it's been in your face for a very long time. But no, I'm not standing behind Will Smith at what was supposed to be the 1997 VMA Awards. No. But we're getting so wrapped up and so distracted by some stuff. So I really want to kind of once again take y'all back, because I know there's a lot of new people and some of you think that you're helping. Okay. Dissociative identity disorder. I want to ask you, what do you think happens to a child after they've been brutally raped and tortured? What do you think? If they get away, do you think that therapy for 3 times a week for an hour with a random stranger is going to help them heal from all the pain that happened in the 5 minutes that is unexplainable, and the highlights of the moment that you understand? You understand, right? That these children didn't, the children that we're talking about, the torture that we're talking about, the cover-ups and the distractions that you're going towards, because what we're talking about was not a tea party. You get that, right? When people are snatching people and taking them against their will and doing things that they don't want to come to light, they're not having a tea party with them. This was not just a conversation. This was not something that was consensual. Clearly, that's why they're hiding it. You get that, right? Okay. So for those people who are like, well, that doesn't exist, that can't be real, it can't be like that, do you understand what's happening? Do you understand the PTSD that's built on what's happening? Do you understand the night terrors, the trauma, the experiences that are out of this world, what actual triggers mean? Do you understand what's going on? This wasn't just something little that happened. Okay? What I can tell you doesn't explain the things that happen in the first 5 minutes, the first 10 minutes. If you went somewhere recently, just think about what you just did in the past 24 to 48 hours. Can you explain to me exactly what happened every single minute? No, because some things just happen so fast and so slow all at the same time, right? So the things that you're hearing right now that's coming from survivors, do you understand that you're not even touching or scratching at a crumb of a situation that happened the first 5 minutes, the first 10 minutes? You don't get it. Okay? DID, dissociative identity disorder, comes from when somebody has been so brutally tortured that your mind has to go somewhere. You don't just walk away from torture the same way you don't walk away from a gang life, the same way you don't just walk away from being a drug dealer, the same way you don't walk away from a secret society. You don't just walk away from these type of things. Okay? So, dissociative identity disorder, you would just have to dig. There's a few different types, but
well, it's actually more than that. Dissociative identity disorder is kind of an organic thing where something happened traumatically that caused your brain psyche to split. MK Ultra is when they've done that on purpose and deliberately. A lot of survivors get dragged about, well, they're lying, or they didn't say this, or they said this last time and now they're saying something else. It's because you don't understand how that shit works. Everybody knows what MK Ultra is. You know the term, but you don't know what it looks like on a day-to-day basis. You don't know what it's about. Allie has over 200 alters. So each alter holds different memories of different people. She's told you about Oprah and the Bidens and the Obamas, and she's told you about Diddy, but that's coming from 5 or 6 alters. She has over 200 alters that have different memories of different incidents. So be really easy before you start calling survivors liars, and before you start making up your own story in your head of how you think things went and how things go. It's nothing like that. So be careful how you come at survivors and how you try to discredit survivors, because that's not true. If you're at a party, if you're at a family gathering and you're in the kitchen, you're going to have memories of what was going on in the kitchen. And if your husband is outside in the barbecue talking to the men, he's going to have a different perception of that same party, even though you guys are both in the same place. That's kind of how DID works.
Stand at a 4-way intersection, and everybody on each intersection is going to have a different story. Okay.
Basically, like if there was a car accident on a 4-way intersection, everybody's going to hear the crash and know there was an accident, but depending on where you're standing is going to be your perception of that. So you wouldn't call somebody on the north corner a liar because they recall it a little bit different than the person on the south corner. Everybody knows there was an accident, but everybody has a different perception. So be very easy with how you treat the survivors. They are telling you the truth. let me go ahead while I'm still talking. Somebody was like, she just give her a lie detector. I don't believe her. Give her a lie detector test. A lie detector test is a pseudoscience. It's not something that they take into the courts because it can be beat. The way it can be beat for survivors is what something might happen to one survivor that doesn't happen to another, and the other might not have any memory of it whatsoever. So anybody that has DID or MK Ultra can beat a lie detector test, hands down, because you would just switch out the alters. And if you're trying to say, well, alter A started a fire, and we're gonna prove it with a lie detector test, all you need to do is bring up alter B that had nothing to do with it, has no memory of it, and they're gonna beat the lie detector test. So before you start spewing opinions and think you have everything wrapped up in a nice little package, you don't know what you're talking about. Slow your roll. All right, go ahead. I'm done.
You know what? On top of that, what I don't understand is we're getting into this political mentality. Is, oh, well, this person is voting for Trump and this person is voting for Kamala, so we can't all be on the same page. Are you telling me that we can't all be on the same page for the brutality of children? How about we vote for the children? We are living out of our car at the moment. So somebody who they're Trump supporters, does that matter? Who said we were voting for anyone? I never said I was voting for anybody. I'm voting for the children. That's what I'm voting for. I'm voting for the truth. I'm an independent for the truth at this point, because no one understands how bad this is on both sides. And the sorry part is, the pathetic and shameful part is the first people, the people that will claim so loud, I'm here for the children, I would do anything for a child. You're the one that's making conditions on whether or not you give a damn about a child. I'm not gonna listen to this because it's for the red side. I'm not gonna listen to this because it's for the blue side. How about you listen to what's for the right side? The right thing to do. The children.
Be a human. How about
That's
that?
it.
How about we vote for humanity? How about that?
Because this is just pathetic.
I think a lot of people get lost on the fact that Allie they're labeling her a Trump supporter because she said, number one, that executive orders were passed when Trump got in office.
That don't mean anything
for trafficking.
though.
All that means is that orders were put in place to help stop trafficking.
It hasn't stopped, has it?
The other thing I think was that Allie said she's never seen Trump at any place where she was trafficked. That doesn't mean anything. That means where she went, he was not there. To her memory, we could have alter number 199 come up in 3 weeks from now and say, hey, he was there, I saw him. And then we would have to change that narrative. But as of right now, with the alters that are speaking out and speaking to you, he was not seen trafficking-wise. That's it, and that's all. Manage your perceptions and manage your expectations of what's being told to you.
But if we wanted to can we just simple talk it? It's about the children.
Yeah. At the end of the day.
After all of that being said, it's about the children. When you come back down to it, it's about the children. When you really want to talk about it, it's about the children. And still, that's what we get distracted from. I'm an adult now. I'm not that scared child anymore. There's still some children in me. And there's some that have died. Okay? But I'm not that child anymore. I'm an adult trying to do the right thing because I was a child that nobody cared about. And still, here we are saying, okay, this is not important. That's not important. What's important and what should be it and all and no more discussion is the children. If you're the type of person who has conditions on whether or not you give a damn about a child, you are not a human being. That's it and that's all. It's not even judgmental at this point. It's just heartless. I don't care what you think of me. You do not have to like me. The line of how many people hate me, it's getting longer. Okay? It's getting longer every single day. I don't care. But my point is, and my entire point has been, the children. If you don't understand that, you're in the wrong fight. That's it. It shouldn't matter what line of the sand you stand on. It's whether or not you can be a human being. You know those experiments on TikTok where people are seeing people grab a child and run down an alleyway and everybody just keeps walking? Versus those one or two people that start running and going after that person. That's what I'm talking about. Again, we have numbers on platforms and everybody is so excited about numbers and trends and what can I get out of it and what's my gain. What does it matter? What does it matter when there's not that same amount of people in the streets are yelling for the children? What does it matter? Last thing we want to talk about real quick. We got a message from a friend. Her name, I'm going to say E because you're still on here. And I know you're probably going to see this. But in 2020, when I first went viral, we got a message from a girl. And she's like, hey, I know you. Me and you used to work in a strip club together in Los Angeles. I know exactly who you are. Can I talk to you? And at first I'm like, no, she's lying. I don't want to talk to anybody. And no, she does not know me. She sent a picture and she's like, you remember me and I remember you. And I was like, nope. And then I saw the picture and I'm like, okay, yeah, I do. But does she know what she's talking about? Because there was something that I used to do in this club that she's referring to. And if she could tell me what it is, then that's her. Okay? My mom asked her. She responded and said, give me the phone. Let me talk to her. Okay? We talked. And it was the realest conversation we've ever had. She straight out, we didn't beat around the bush. I asked her, I said, hey, you mad at me? That's what you want to talk about? And she said, yeah, actually I am. Because I was 19 years old when I worked in this club. And at the time, I didn't understand what pimp was kicking me out of the club and telling me that I wasn't pretty enough for the jobs that I had with regulars. And you and other girls were coming into this club and taking my regulars and taking my money. So yeah, I was pissed. But now that I see what's going on, I understand. Because we were catering to authority in these clubs. So I'm like, okay.
Which authority?
Los Angeles firefighters, police department, paramedics, and so much more. Attorneys. The private rooms didn't even need to be a private room after midnight. Because we came into these clubs and they kicked out anybody that was over the age of 18, shut the club down, and catered to authority.
How old were you?
At the time, I was 14, 15. So we talked, and we talked about how her life has changed. And she has kids now, and she's doing the best that she can by her kids. But she was like, I'm not trying to put my story out there. I'm not trying to go for any type of fame or any type of anything. I just want to let you know how I felt. Okay, cool. Thank you. Now, there's a situation with some Johns. Now, you remember I told you pimps, Johns, traffickers, 3 different things, right? Let me help you. Ghislaine Maxwell, trafficker. Jeffrey Epstein, John. Jeffrey Epstein later turned into a pimp who had his own supply, just like Diddy, who was a pimp, or Snoop Dogg, who was a pimp, or so on and so forth. We don't have to get into the elite because we got to go down the middle line. But there's a difference between traffickers, pimps, and Johns. Okay? So, thank you for sharing my videos, honestly. And those who are not sharing them to collect any type of money or gain or fortune from sharing them. So thank you for that. But for those who are honestly sharing my videos, there are some people, in 90s, I'm going to need your help. Because there's some people that are popping up. And a John popped up. And I'm going to tell you it's a John. But he's not. He's saying that we're friends. And he's not telling everybody where he met me. He's telling everybody we're friends. Okay? And that's exactly what men that come to clubs, strip clubs, legal brothels in Nevada, that's exactly what they tell their wives, their girlfriends, and people that they don't want them to know what happened. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes when I was on an order or on a job, when I got into a room with the John after my trafficker supplier brought me to my pimp pimped me out to my John, after I got into the order with my John, sometimes I would say, yes, I'm 18. But some orders and some jobs, I was so high and I just lost my shit at one point. I would just start spilling. And I would just start telling a clear truth. I am 15 years old. I'm actually a foster kid. If you can help me, that would be great. And people would think, nope. And some of them would straight up tell me, my daughter is too. But for the night, you're not. And I don't care. Okay? Some people were moved by money. Some people were moved by deals. Some people would think that it was my choice or it's the way it goes. And some people would see my pimp and get scared. Okay? So there are some jobs that, yes, I said I was 18. I lied. I did. Because if I didn't, it was my ass that was going to be kicked. I had a quota to make for the night. And if I did not make that quota, I was going to be hurt worse than what that John was going to do. Okay, so there's some jobs that I walked into that I said, yeah, I'm 18 years old. And I kind of looked like it too, depending on what was going on. Now, how it works in some of these strip clubs is and I'm laughing because I'm already getting shaky and sweaty because I just need to spit this out. But nothing's funny. In some of these clubs, there's men and women. The women that would come in with their husbands or with whoever their partner, they would be there because their partner told them that that's what's going to make them happy. They would be there because they were told that it was sexy to them and that's the way that they're going to spice up their marriage. Okay, so sometimes those women didn't want to be there, but they would be there and then they would be taking their anger out on me. So I'd be fighting females because they were sitting there anyways with their husbands, but they had to come in anyways because that was the only way that was going to save their relationship, even though their relationship was already shit. Okay, and then there's men that would come into the clubs that would always be crying right after work and my wife just doesn't do it for me anymore. I have these kids and I'm taking care of all this and she doesn't love me and she doesn't want to spend time with me and I get home and she's sleeping and she's yelling at me. What did you do? Is usually what the girls talk about backstage. All your bitching and crying that those men do and those women do sometimes to the strippers, they treat the sex slaves like they're their therapist. They bitch and they take their entire lives to that strip club, including their money, their home, their marriage, and their minds. They take it all to the strip club and throw it right at the person that's hurting the most and expect an answer. And then get mad when they don't get the answer that they want. Okay, so there's a lot of Johns that I had to deal with that would come in and tell me their lives. How hard it was. And I'm pretty sure they would do the same thing to me if they had the chance. But how hard it was to be there in their lives. Okay, now we have a John popping up. And they're saying that, I thought you were crazy. You know, you were on drugs. Are you going to tell people where you know me? Are you going to tell people where you know me from? Because even if you want to pull the bullshit of, I thought you were 18, you brought a human being. That's the problem. That's the entire problem. Is people are buying another human being and think that it's okay. Because that's what the music says to do. Think that it's okay because that's what's hot to do. No. Little do you know who you're buying and what you're doing. You're messing up everybody's life. Okay? So before all these Johns start popping up and think that that's what's going to shake me. No. I'm past that. I'm really past that. I know the truth. I am way past that. Mateo. Or should I say Jack? Because you thought that I was high enough to not know your first name. Mateo. Simi Valley, California.
Did Mateo have identifying markers?
Yes. Mateo has a snake tattooed on his right arm. All the way up his arm. And the snake head goes onto the inside of his arm. You think I don't remember you? I remember you so clearly to the point I've been drowning in my PTSD. I remember you. I remember the time that in Simi Valley, California, there's these line of track houses and they're stage homes. They're stage homes and they're set up for porn videos.
The whole street.
The whole street.
So
the whole damn thing.
Think of your street. All the houses on your street were different stages that they filmed child porn.
Okay, so I tried to run. I did. My dumb ass ran right out of one house after my pimp told me what was going on and that I had to suck on a pacifier and that I was going to be a baby and that he dressed me up in a blue and white onesie. It was a sea blue and white and green onesie with sea blue and green lingerie. I remember that. To the point that it was really hard for a little bit to cope, and it was a few days ago it was really hard to get off the floor. But no, I remember going into the house and being told that I was going to be hunted down in the house. The drugs were in the pacifier. I was supposed to finish the pacifier, but I didn't, because when I finally realized the job that I was on, I was officially freaked out. I put up with a lot of crazy shit. And I was like, you know what, fine. I don't want to get my ass beat, or I'll fight today, or we're going to fight anyway. So I was going to fight over some stuff. But there was a point in time where I just said, you know what, screw it. Because when I got to those houses and I realized what was going on, and the first time that I ran into another set house, it's like, okay, I got it. But my pimp told me that I was going to go into this house, and there were these sex dolls in these cribs. They're big sex dolls. Children size, heavy life-size sex dolls. Look them up. They exist. They are heavy. They cry. They make noise. All of it like a child. Okay? And it was a house full of these cribs. And I was supposed to go into one and just get in one. And he was supposed to come looking for me and then do whatever he wanted to do with me. Okay? When that finally clicked in and I realized the job that I was on, I was scared. Okay, after I ran out of the house and got in trouble, I went back in the house and I hid in the kitchen cabinet. And Mateo, Jack, dragged me from the kitchen cabinet to the stairs, by my hair up the stairs, and into my order.
What you guys need to understand about MK Ultra was, I will put money down that Mateo had codes to Allie's programming, and he was able to call up the baby alters and the little kid alters, 3, 4, 5 years old, and he was able to call them up, and that's who he was raping.
At one point, I stopped crying, and it took me forever to, in my brain, get it together that if you stop fighting someone, that's not rape. Okay? And that's because of everything that I was taught. So, the last few days, my dumb self started cycling back through that. Like, yeah, I stopped fighting you. I did. And at one point, I started laughing. Because I was like, okay, if I fight you anymore, I'm not getting out of this. When you understand what type of evil we're talking about, when you understand how deep this goes and what somebody's child is going through right now, there's no time for the bullshit. There's no back and forth. There's no political. There's no religious.
Race, none of it.
None of it. None of it matters. Because we're talking about children. That's it and that's all. So, no, I remember. I remember very clearly, too clearly, right now. Everything is messing with me, but I'm okay.
I don't think most of y'all appreciate the survivors that are speaking, because that comes at great cost to them. Yes, they get threats. Yes, they get people calling them liars and crazy. That's nothing. Anybody that's a true survivor that's speaking out and trying to tell you something, they are going to be having flashbacks. They're going to be picking themselves up off the floor. They're going to be having night terrors. Like, every truth that you guys hear comes at a great cost for every survivor. So when you guys are like, hey, well, give me another name, you haven't done anything with the first name. You don't understand the price that's being paid to even give you a single name. Be careful with the survivors. It's critical how you respond to a survivor.
I'm okay, but I'm not okay. But I'm okay. Because I'm still here. Even though shit sucks, I am still right here. If you only knew. If you really only knew. It's a lot. It's a lot. There's track houses. It's probably still there. There's one that people have fetishes to have sex with dead people. So they make you put ice in your vagina and stay still and put on ACs and make your body cold to satisfy whoever can buy it. Ask me how I know. Do you not hear it? You know, the things people are like, give me evidence. What do you think you're asking for? Do you think we had a tea party? Do you think after Mateo dragged me upstairs we were cool? Just sat down and started talking? Do you think that's what happened? What do you think happened? What more do people need?
A lot of people repeat scripts. Where's the evidence? I need evidence. A lot of you guys don't even understand what you're asking for. What is evidence to you?
You're asking for the same thing that they're buying and selling off the black market right now and covering the cases that they have up with. That's what you're asking for.
Evidence looks a lot of different ways, but I don't think the people that are screaming about the evidence understand what they're even asking for. They're just repeating some mindless script that's in their head that they think they need evidence to prove something. There's a lot of different ways to prove things without there's a lot of different kind of evidence. It's not just a picture, it's not just a video. There's a lot of different types of evidence.
So DID, again, DID, every broken part, every altar comes from every single trauma. Ask me again how many we have. Nobody is just walking away from trafficking after being on a job that you're supposed to be a baby, after being on a job that you're supposed to carry a suitcase full of military-grade weapons through a casino and almost be the reason why you go to prison for the rest of your life because it's a pimp. Over a pimp. It's called clean hands. Ask me how I know. After so many times of being tied up and told your name and you are somebody else, what do you think happens? What do you think happens? Please wake up. Please wake up and please educate somebody that is so damn ignorant to this fight that you have no idea what you're saying. No matter what happened, where were you? No matter who you are, no matter where I met you, no matter what, where were you? Through the trauma and the pain, what did you do? What was your actions as an adult in the situation? What was your place in it at all? I ran on my own at 16. I was missing for a year from Riverside County Child Protective Services custody because I had to make a choice to not let somebody kill me. A few people. Where were the adults? Does anybody ever ask that question? Survivors get out and they get a chance to tell you what happened, and then it's their fault that they got out. Where was the adults? Is anybody going to talk to them? Is anybody going to ask, where the hell were you? And did you stop? Did you stop making it a point to help? Did you stop making it a point to do something for this child's life? Were you that selfish? And were you that proud of your silence? What did you do? Ugh. I gotta go. You got anything else?
OG 90s, if you see people coming with the stupid shit, the BS, check them. You probably aren't going to change their mind, but at least throw some facts at them, so they don't muddy the waters for other people. The polygraph thing, Allie's a liar, she can't remember, she said this and then she said that. Don't let people do that to survivors. And I'm not just talking about Allie, I'm talking about every survivor. I know the price they're paying to tell you the truth. They need your support, so stand with them. There's a reason why there might be discrepancies sometimes, and it's because of MK Ultra. I promise you that. I would not let this kid come online and talk to you if she was not telling you the truth. Most human beings can see that. You can see it in her eyes. You can see it in the way she presents herself. You can see the truth. It really raises red flags for me, for those of
There's also some people that are like, hey, would you speak at this? I don't know if some people want to put a mic in my hand. I really don't.
Actually had a couple big name people approach us to speak. One of them I know is well versed in MK Ultra but isn't speaking on it, so that's a hard no. The other, you guys would recognize the name if I dropped it, but they have really suspect ties, and they got into the industry by somebody that was one of Allie's traffickers, so that's a hard no. And again, some people are like, well, they want you on their platform, and you said no, so you must be lying. No, we're just looking ahead of the problem.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of things is, not one person has came at us with a safety issue. If you understand the fight that we're in, it's not easy to do a live event. It's not easy to do this.
Well, to go into somebody's studio, to fly to someone, to go into their studio, to be on their TV show, that puts us as a sitting duck. That's what we've been trying to avoid for the last few years. So that's a hard no. And I think we're just going to continue speaking the way we've been speaking, because that's the safest and it works the best, and clearly the message is getting out about the children. So if it's not broke, let's don't try to fix it.
Somebody said, how does somebody expect her to have evidence more than her memory? Thank you. But another thing is those of you who are expecting a rape victim to be dragged into a room, pray to God that they can make it out, and then expect them to get up and have a copy of everything that happened. Well, do you really understand what's happening?
Again, it's about managing your expectations of what you believe to be evidence. I've taken Allie places she'll describe something to me, and I'll figure out where I think it is, and I'll take her there without telling her that's where we're going. Her body will react every time. She will be deer in the headlights. She will have a panic attack. So that's pretty strong evidence in my case. The other situation is, think about yourselves. Most all of us have some identifying marker on our body that distinguishes us from just the run-of-the-mill people. Tattoos, dick size, dick shape. If you remember when they were dragging Michael Jackson, they said he had the white spots on his penis from his skin issue. There's some identifying situations in a lot of these traffickers and pimps and johns that children shouldn't know about. So that's a whole other different kind of evidence that nobody's talking about. They just think we need a video or we need a picture.
Oh, by the way, 90s, if you have counted the cost and are willing to stand and be a witness, we got some shit to witness coming up. Because I see this problem just brewing. I see this issue with Johns thinking that you coming forward to push at the person that you brought.
Let's clear it up for you 90s. I've had Allie since she was 18. So anybody that knows her in that capacity would have known her as a child. They would have been buying her as a child. So there is no wiggle room there. If Johns are coming up and they're trying to trigger Allie's programming by their presence, jump them. Ask them where they knew her from. How old was she? What were you doing? Question them.
Virtually. We do not incite any
I'm
violence.
not citing violence. No, ask the questions is all I'm telling you. Ask the questions.
We are not them.
There's no need for violence. The truth is plenty.
So, yeah. We'll be back. Sooner than later, I pray. But if you have counted the cost and you will understand with us, can you email us through the website, please? And then there's an admin that will catch messages and get them to us somehow, some way, as soon as life can. So, yeah. Thank you for listening and thank you for sharing. We'll talk to you all soon. Love you, 90s.
Love you guys.